Okay, so raw thoughts. This was a raw thought I had like a month ago or something, but I did not have a way of recording it when the thought came in. And all I could do was just quickly write it down. And then when that happens, like at least I get it written down. But if I don't get to it right away, it usually takes me a while for the message to come back. And it's been cycling back over and over again periodically. Um, so, anyway, the thought, right? We always hear the term of, or we're familiar with the term anyway, of heaven on earth and hell on earth and purgatory, right? So, for whatever reason, I had this random thought one day, and it was more like an intuitive download, really, the way that it came through, rather than my own thought. But what if Earth itself was like the karmic courtroom, so to speak? Um, it's purgatory. Earth is our purgatory. And we encounter a lot of people on Earth, right? And some people are like, they hold grudges, they are very judgmental. They don't see your perspective. There's no benefit of the doubt. They label you and they treat you as such. And then you run into other people who, no matter what you're going through or where you are in your past, no matter what you've done in your past, whether you've made a lot of like bad decisions, bad mistakes, hurt a lot of people, or you've been there helping a lot of people, those people come in and like take you under their wing. They're like earth angels that come in and scoop you up and just hold space for you and give you unconditional love no matter where you are in your journey, and there's no judgment, right? Like they're not judging you, they're listening to you, they're holding space, they're seeing things from your perspective, and they're giving you, some kind of comfort and guidance and forgiveness. And then you have the other people that are not doing those things. What if all of those people and your spirit guides, and we hear that, I mean, right now we're in a very, very intense spiritual warfare. Like there's recently been, for the last year now, and I have been seeing attachments to people, like dark attachments to people, not necessarily demonic. I don't know. It's new to me. But a lot of them, I believe, are. And anyway, so what if all of these beings, the purgatory humans that we encounter on Earth, our spirit guides, these demons, these darker entities, guardian angels, ascended masters, all of that, what if these were our jurors in the karmic courtroom of Earth? And these are the people that are listening, observing, watching our journey, watching what we're doing, and observing us. And we're getting help here and there. We're getting judged. We're getting guided in one way or another way. But these beings are observing and watching what we're doing and how we're playing out, and they're making the determination as to whether or not we've repaid our karmic debt that we carry in the karmic courtroom labeled Earth. And then you have your judge. You've got the top dog who makes that determining factor of where are you going? What if Earth is our after death? Before we move on to the next life, we come here to earth to sit trial in the karmic courtroom for years and years and years and years, a long, long, long trial, determining if we have served our purpose and we can move on. We've learned our lessons, we've repaid our karmic debt, and we have, been working towards figuring out what our purpose is and then following that. And that determines whether we move into a place of soul freedom, heaven, or a place of soul prison, which would be hell. And the thought came to mind that the judge is God or the higher power or whatever label you want to give it, but it is the deciding factor of where we go from this life. Whether earth becomes heaven for us or earth becomes hell for us, and then in the afterlife where our soul will go beyond that. Are we going to be reincarnated again into a new life? And once that life is over, we again return to earth and into purgatory and the karmic courtroom, facing judgment again to see what we've learned and what we've done in that past life. Have we built up more karmic debt that we need to repay, or have we freed our souls from that? So the thought for me was that once we've been judged, once the determining factor by our judge or our God, creator, the higher source, higher power, has determined whether we are going into hell and a soul imprisonment, or whether we are going into heaven of a soul freedom. From there, we can move on to our next dimension of reality. And by going to hell or that soul imprisonment, we're starting fresh, we're starting over again, but we're still carrying the same karmic debt that we did. And so life becomes, in this new dimension, life becomes much like it is in our reality of earth that we have now. And where it's hard and it's difficult and it's confusing. But if we have fulfilled our purpose and we've learned our lessons and we've met the expectations of our judge, God, source, higher power, and we've been able to move into soul freedom or heaven, that's a time for us to engage in a soul reset of our souls literally just becoming pure, completely pure again, and then moving into that reincarnation, into a new dimension of reality and into a new body, into a new life, and reliving over again. Only this time it's a much better life. Of course, we don't remember this once we've passed on or anything, but the soul remembers. The soul knows, but the physical body does not know. And so when after that life is over and we return to earth again, and we return to that karmic courtroom or that place of purgatory where we're in between and kind of stuck, and we're stuck there because we need to face judgment again. And it needs to be determined whether or not we've done the work that we've needed to in that life in order to be able to move on and access the gates of heaven and access soul freedom, or if we need to be sent to soul imprisonment or into hell. and repeat, come back and repeat all of the lessons and everything that we were supposed to know. Reworking towards figuring out our purpose and then fulfilling that purpose as our soul contract, whether we fulfilled that soul contract or not in that past life. Don't ask me where these thoughts come from, because I cannot tell you. Like I said, when this first came to me, it came in very strong, very quickly, as if it was a downloaded message and not just a thought from my mind. The concept of it, when I think about it, makes a lot of sense, actually, especially like when I think of the way that my life has been, the decisions that I have made, the lessons that I have learned, the people that I've run into that I know I've held karmic debt with in one way, shape, or form, not really knowing if it's me repaying the debt to them or if it's them repaying the debt to me. But they're souls that I have encountered that the intense connection I feel really cannot be anything else but a karmic debt. And they, it tends to be that once the karmic debt is repaid, like they're gone. I might see them around periodically here and there, whatever. But we never encounter each other the same way, and there isn't as strong of a connection to them anymore. They're another face in the crowd, somebody that I know their name of. It's just the connection fades and goes away, and it doesn't resurface. It can be mistaken sometimes as a twin flame, but with a twin flame, that will resurface for your whole life. They don't go away. They're there all the time. You're constantly running into them in that intense connection that you feel with them. That doesn't fade either. That stays there and is very intense and very strong throughout your entire walk on earth. So, anyway, I don't know where these thoughts come from. I don't know, I couldn't tell you if they are downloaded messages. I could not tell you the origin of where they're coming from, or who is giving them to me. All I know is that when they come in very, very strong, and sometimes they can be very confusing to me, but most of the time when I really think about it, like afterwards, it just makes perfect sense to me. This is one of those times, because when I look and I observe the people around me and I observe their life and I hear their stories in my work, that's what I do. I listen to people's stories a lot about their life and what they're going through, what they've been through in the past, what they're going through in the present, and even into what they believe is going to be their outcome. So I hear stories a lot. I listen to stories a lot. And I haven't encountered anyone yet who would describe living on earth as heaven on earth. Bits and pieces here and there maybe, but an entire life, I've never heard that, ever. Most people will tell me that their life has felt more like hell on earth than heaven on earth 99% of the time. And that's what kind of leads me to feel like earth quite possibly could be purgatory. This could be where we go when we're awaiting our sentencing, for our karmic debt. And we're waiting to see if we've held up our end of the bargain, if we have lived our life to be beneficial and satisfactory to our judge or our God or higher power, or if we have not done that, if we have not listened to our jurors, to our guides, and we haven't learned the lessons and now have to be sentenced to that soul imprisonment or hell in a new dimension of reality and be sitting there as kind of a karmic reset, repaying our karmic debt, in a sense, so that we can move into this new dimension of reality or reincarnation, living into another life in another dimension where we're given the opportunity of repaying any karmic debt that is left over that was not cleared during our sentencing, and then giving us the opportunity of either racking up more karmic debt in that life or staying pure and then moving through the motions of that life in that different reality, only to die, the body die, and the soul be sent back to earth or the karmic courtroom to be once again awaiting trial and sitting trial, being judged, and it being determined if we can move on or if we need to be put in that, if we're able to move into a soul reset before the next reincarnated life, or if we need to be sent into a soul imprisonment to repay back the karmic debt that we still owe before we can actually try again. Anyway, that was my thought, and I finally had a minute to get on here. Obviously, it is not downloading and coming through as it did the original time, but you get the gist of what I'm trying to say here. So anyway, that's it for Raw Thoughts today. I've had a lot of raw thoughts, so be on the lookout for some more. You know, your blessings, everyone.